controlled, and I take no delight in saying this, but I still believe it's true, that is controlled by a cabal of globalists who really do not care about the sovereignty and the independence of the United States of America, but are more concerned about constructing what George Herbert Walker Bush said was a global new world order. And as I was campaigning in 2008, and I said, and I'll say it again today, and this is something, folks, I hope that you'll take away from this meeting tonight, and I hope that you'll really take this to heart as you examine candidates, especially for federal office. The question is not, are they conservative or are they liberal? The question is not, are they Democrat or are they Republican? Somehow or another, we have got to get ourselves out of that paradigm where that we can only think inside that box. Conservatives are good, liberals are bad, Republicans are good, Democrats are bad, or however you think. You can even take the opposite approach if you choose. But this idea that what we got to do is, we just got to get rid of Democrats and elect Republicans. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me just go back for a minute here. Let me regress just for a second and give you a little recent history lesson. I know this is not going to be pleasant news for many of us, but it's, Patrick Henry talked about how the men tend to shun away from the truth whenever it's difficult, and I don't want us to do that. It's too important today that we face the truth as it is, because if we keep falling for the same lies and deceit that the two major parties have been putting out over the last several decades, we are going to be sunk as a free republic.
Hear, hear.
Back in 2000, President George W. Bush was elected on a strong conservative, quote-unquote, mantra. His platform was pro-life, pro-Second Amendment, all the conservative principles that you and I probably share in this room tonight. Not only did we elect a Republican for president in 2000, we had a Republican Senate, we had a Republican House of Representatives, and of course the Supreme Court has been dominated by Republican presidents since 1973, the Roe v. Wade decision that took place. It's been Republican administrations that have loaded the court ever since. It was a 7-2 Republican-appointed court for many of those years, and here you had a majority Republican in the Supreme Court by 7-2 margin. You had a Republican Senate, you had a Republican House of Representatives, and now you have a Republican Chief Executive Officer, the President of the United States, elected by a conservative platform and under the rubric of a conservative agenda. And conservative people all went out, including Christians and pro-life people, and now we're going to get something done. Now we're going to do something about Roe v. Wade. Now we're going to do something about abortion on demand. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't have to tell you that when George W. Bush took office in January of 2001, there were some 1 million babies a year that were being aborted annually in the wombs of their mothers. And when Barack Obama took office in January of 2009, there were still 1 million babies a year that are being aborted in the wombs of their mothers. 8 years of a Republican president, 6 years of Republican domination in the entire federal government, House, Senate, Supreme Court, White House, and not one innocent unborn baby's life was saved. Not one. And yet they had the audacity, did John McCain and his fellow Republicans in 2008, and go across America and say, vote for Republicans for president and for Congress because we are pro-life. Try to convince the 8 million plus babies that have been murdered in their mother's wombs over the last 8 years how pro-life the National Republican Party was under the Bush White House. What's really, to me, insulting about all of this is that there was